G'day mate and welcome back to Factorio with me, JD. Today we're actually having a look at InferiorRooks base. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you guys actually watch other members of the community, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen Neilhouse's current playthrough with the Dangerous mod, whatever it's called, which basically gives you this lovely ore pattern you find on the map. On top of that, it has a small catch. It stops you building on ore. The only thing you can build on ore, and let's try with some, no, wooden boxes. Assemblers, no. The only thing you can build on ore is an actual miner. But of course, if you put a miner out here, and then we get some belts, and the belt just explodes. So, you need to put the ore, the miners right on the edge and then mine things out to actually get out to anywhere in the map. Which leads to a couple of things. One, you have these lovely belts of perfectly clean sorted ore. Two, getting oil is actually the hardest thing that you have to do because you have to literally, well, oil's not in the starting area. So you have to push your miners in one direction to get out, to then mine everything from around the oil, to then finally put down a pump jack. And as you can see, it's like 10, 12, 11,000 ore for each one of these miners. As we walk closer and closer back to spawn, they obviously get smaller, down to, 3k. Right at the starting position, they're down to like 500. But it does take a while to get there. It also means that unless you're really, really lucky and you happen to be mining just a copper patch or just a coal patch or just a stone patch, you're going to end up with these lovely mixed belts. Along with all this ore that you really have no use for. Like we all know with Factorio, the main thing that you're always going to be short on is iron. Not copper, not stone, not coal. Unfortunately, with this mod, it's all the patches are never what you need at the time. So yeah, you can see he's thought up just a little bit of copper ore here. He's brought all his belts down, and then he runs them through a magic sorting machine. Now, I actually remember this one because when I was doing the Diggity map, Bad Gamer NL, who used to run the Explosive Gaming server, he actually jumped in chat and gave me the details for this one. And then I realized that I've basically built the same thing before as a splitter, not as a split off a main bus rather than the ore sorter. Anyway, as you can see, InferiorRook has just a tiny bit of stone stacked up. That's good for some landfill at some stage, except the map has no water, so that's probably not going to help. So yeah, he's got to sort out his ore, so pull out the stone, pull out the coal, pull out the iron, run the iron through. He's also, and is it here? Yeah, so also he's in his infinite wisdom or madness, he's actually also putting his oil barrels on the same belt, and then he's sorting his oil barrels out this way to run them over to his oil production, which we'll get to later. So yeah, he's pulling off stone, coal, iron, copper. In theory, everything else that's left is uranium, so he's running the uranium up here. As you can see, he's got just like a little bit of plate, a little bit of ore. He's got buffers built in, which I'm assuming he's coming through and clearing out manually, probably continuously, to just try and get rid of the crap. It's a fairly small bus because you just can't get enough materials. Enough of the materials you want in this game is probably the best way of putting it, or in this map type. You're always going to be short on iron for the entirety of the map. Until you actually get out to large areas like this, where you can just like mine iron forever, but then again, you're going to mine out all the iron and leave the copper and the uranium and the other things in the way. So yeah, you're always trying to push out at the same time. You're just trying to push out for the items you want and skip over the ones you don't. Same with this one. When it gets to here, like 18 million sounds good, but 18 million doesn't last long. We all know that. So yeah, Fairly standard bus. Now, you will notice one thing. He has... Where is it? The first one's actually back down here. He's running that lovely mod that I have learnt to hate. The 30 Science Pack mod. Which is the one we ran on the Earth map, and I also ran it on a community map, and I hated it. I absolutely despised it. Because it's just, yeah, it was not a fun playthrough. Far too much handcrafting in the early game. It really needed a tweak, and all the unlocks needed a tweak as well. Anyway, so yeah, he's had to run a very, very compact bus. Is that something? Oops, stop. Belts. No, that's just a weird bit sticking off a splitter. Okay, I've never noticed that weird bit there before. So yeah, it's a fairly standard base, apart from being very, very compact and very, very short on resources. So we've got green circuits. We've got a red circuit running, using the underground trick to bring in plastic and running the copper cable down, right, whilst belt braiding the red circuits out. You can see he started using productivity modules wherever he can because of that iron shortage. Because of that iron shortage, you'll start using them any place you possibly can that uses iron. We've got a blue circuit here. We've got your fairly standard make everything. He is bringing in gears over here from a dedicated gear build. So we got your standard make everything. Then we got a massive red science build of one assembler. A green science build of one assembler. There's a blue science build that's missing. Why are you not outputting? Oh, there's signal wires as well. So we've got 501, 501, read contents, 501, I bet. 499. So yeah, it's set up to read the contents so he can dump everything in one chest and then go along and pick things up manually, because I did notice his science is all hand-fed at this stage. Because of the 30 Science Pack mod, and because of how much a nightmare it is to fill all those labs correctly, I'm not surprised. He's actually got a very, very elegant solution, but we'll get there shortly. We've got a military build with just direct insertion. It works wonderfully. Being constraint on size, I'm actually not surprised. Neelaus is running his with the Factorio mod, so he can put down a warehouse and have more space inside a warehouse to do things. I actually looked at the mod and a long time ago at doing myself, and I'm like, no, I do not want to go build inside a building. I wanna if I'm gonna do it, I want to be constrained by how much I can mine out the ore and how fast, and that be my constraint. We've also got high-tech science. Again, very, very constrained, very, very tight build. We've got a purple science. We've got Science Pack 2, which needs burner inserters and burner miner drills. So again, very, very small build. Beside that, we've got a Science Pack 3, which is boilers and offshore pumps. So we're running the boilers out to here and the offshore pumps to there. We've got a random green circuit that got over here because... Oh, no idea. You need green circuits. That belt's missing. No idea why that belt's missing. InferiorRook, you're missing a belt. Science Pack 3, which needs pistols and armor, which, again, same story. Very, very tight build. Really, really compressed in, and lots of, not manually capped, but wire capped chests. Science Pack 4 with fast inserters and lamps, and again, as compact as sort of you can get it. What have we got on this side of the bus? Oh, we go up to the big science packs. So we've got 12, which is construction robots, a battery, and lubricant. So that means he does have bots, or at least has the ability to make bots. I haven't yet to see a Roboport. So I'm guessing he hasn't. He hasn't actually put down any robots. He's been manually doing the whole base, which I'm actually a little bit surprised about. I'd be using bots to push out my ore lanes all the time. So yeah, robot frame into robot with a stupid battery into a Science Pack 12 into a buffer with some lubricant. 15 is lasers and power poles, because, yep, that makes sense. 17 is your small, medium, and large power poles, again, into a box, capped to 501. 21. Oh, energy shield and exoskeletons. So, red circuits. Red circuits are there, so it's electric engines. Why are you short on electric engines? I saw... Why is electric engines short? I'm now really curious. Because the chest is still manually fed with lubricant. Well, there you go. I'd actually be getting this base across to bots as fast as possible. And I'd be cheating. Where'd that go? So, it's something I pointed out to Neelaus during his playthrough, and unfortunately he didn't exploit it. So if you filter that to a lubricant barrel, and then we have a barrel here that's full of lubricant. If you deconstruct this barrel, just deconstruct it, the robots will come pick it up and they'll go put it in storage. But because you can now filter the storage chests, and I've filtered this one to be lubricant barrels, they'll deconstruct this chest. Any barrels that are, any lubricant barrels, they'll actually automatically fly up here and dump in here. And then they'll put which would be well, it wouldn't matter, a steel chest, a wooden box, a whatever. They'll put this one to storage. So I would be at the other end having like 3 output chests for lubricant, and I'd just be occasionally just deconstructing one to know that this gets refilled. Because it's not a cheat, it's an exploit. It's not an exploit. It's manipulating the it's manipulating the I don't know, the improvements in version 16 with having filter storage. So we're going to Science Pack 18 down here, which use modules, which is just going to use a crap ton of your red, green, blue circuits. We're going to Science Pack 20, which is stack inserters and assembler 3s. I would probably be upgrading definitely my gear production to assembler 3s, just so I could add more productivity modules, because straight away InferiorRook has access to productivity module 3s. Has he done the research? No. So he hasn't done the research for the next one, but I would be straight away upgrading these guys to the next level of assembler. At the same time, putting more modules in them, because as soon as you do that, they're not going to run any faster because you're feeding them at the same speed, but you're going to get more productivity out of them. And that means, in theory, less iron being used. We have, oh gosh, Science Pack 22, which uses all blue belt stuff. Same story. I would be definitely considering... No, actually, I probably wouldn't. Actually, no, I would be upgrading my sorters to blue belt. And as you can see, coal's just backed up. And because coal's backed up, these belts don't run anymore. Oh, I hate this mod. Because there's one bit of iron. Yeah, there we go. One bit of iron. I know one bit of coal that needs to be pulled off. And because it needs to be pulled off and it's got nowhere to go, it's going to sit there and block up these whole belts. Oh! Hate this mod. Science Pack 23 with beacons and lubricant. And as I said, again, I'd make this one a filter box, and I just deconstruct the boxes occasionally and just force the construction bots to turn into very, very stupid Logibots. We've got Science Pack 8, which is way back in the list, which is iron stick, electronic circuit, and steam. And again, as you can see, nice simple little build down here. He has used... So if there's no coal, set off an alarm. Okay. So he has used quite a few yeah, I don't think he'll run out of coal anytime soon. We're going to come back to science, because he's used quite a few little circuit tricks, which I'd like to go over and spend a moment on. We've got 20 for the tank and the cannon shells. So, yeah, that one's backed up. We've got his oil build. So, as I was saying, I would literally be just going, yoink. And the construction robots would take all 173 lube barrels and put it in one of those 2 storage chests. You can't control which one. They're bots. They're stupid. They're construction bots. They're just going to move it to one of those 2 chests. But it's a good alternative to sort of, you know, having to do everything manually. And same story. I just have another inserter with another box. And let's not do the tutorial. And that's how I'd be doing. Now, his oil build, again, it's super compact because he can't bring a lot of oil in. In fact, no, he's got a lot of oil sitting on belts. Oil gets split off there. So it's not quite backed all the way up. I don't quite have the radar range to see in that corner, but it's close to. So we've got our 3 materials coming out. We've got a heavy, a light, and a petroleum chest. We've got signals on all 3 of them, and an acid, which is over there somewhere. Looking for a pump. So if light's greater than petroleum, we'll run into a cracking. This one is if a lubricant is less than 5k. Then we'll pump the lubricant out. And this one is if heavy is greater than 1k. So at the moment, he's actually completely out of lubricant. This is all he has. But unfortunately, petroleum and light oil have backed up. So he doesn't have any sort of overflow guard, I guess, to account for having too much petroleum, too much light oil, but not enough lubricant. Because in that very, very early game where you're not making as many red circuits, not using as much plastic, not launching rockets, there is a stage where you actually need more lube than you need the other items. So I actually, in my oil tutorial I did a few weeks ago, I actually set this as high as like 10k, 20k, because the tank holds 25, and I'm like, no, we want a heap of heavy in backup. Actually, I think in the tutorial I only set it to 5, because 5 seems like a reasonable number. But personally, I'll set it way, way higher. Especially if I'm using a funny mod like this, which is obviously going to shift things into smaller production cycles. And higher production cycles for stuff like electric engines, and blue belts and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I would set that one very, very low. So we've got a plastic build, which is nothing special apart from being super compact. We've got a cannon shell for that science pack, whatever the stupid is, tank one up there. We've got an acid build, which is like fairly compact, I guess. Oh, we got smarts as well. Okay, so if acid is less than 5k and petroleum is greater than 1k, if green is less than or equal to output green, and as you go as long as you have green equals 1. Okay, so let me just confirm. That has no signal. I'm now really curious. You hook up to... I'm going to put a pole there. I'm not good at smarts, but I can read them, sort of. So you're outputting a green, you're outputting a green. Really, Factorio? Why can't we have a tooltip? So this is greater than or equal to 2, isn't it? Output signal 1. Oh. Oh, okay, so you're not outputting, so this is saying if this is met and this is met, then we're going to output a 1 and then you go. But you could skip this whole combinator here by saying that, you know, literally just setting green is less than or equal to right here in the pump. Okay, one less combinator needed. All right, but I get it. So if we've got at least 5k acid, if we've got at least more than 1k petroleum, we'll run the sulfur build to make everything. Unfortunately, like, you need sulfur to make explosives to make shells. So again, it probably works in a normal game, probably doesn't work in this tweaked, stupid science game. We've got a flamethrower for flamethrower science. Yeah, flamethrower science. Oh, which is probably actually where a lot of the heavy's gone, because normally you don't make that much flamethrower fluid. We've also got science pack, whatever number that is, 10? 10. So going through the bottom half of the middle of the base, we've got the beacon science, which I think we covered. So we've got 16, which is your defender circuits, defender capsules. Combat robots. We've got the rail one, which is on a map like this would be so frustrating because you're never going to get rails anywhere. We've got solar. We've got circuits. We've got steel. I remember what half of these are called. And then we've covered all these. So, very, very tight base. Very, very compact. As you can see, the bus is being dictated by the lack of room to expand, and that's sort of dictating everything. Personally, like I said, I'd be getting robots up and running as fast as possible, just for help moving things out slowly. Same time as, like, you know, these guys are not running because they've got no acid. By just having, like, Logibots, I know in this particular mod are a long way away. Where is Logibots? So Logibots require... Really? Is it that close? Actually, it's the very next research. It's the very next research. 22... 23... Actually, I think he can do it right now. Yeah, he can do it right now. So he's about to get to Logibots. When he gets to Logibots, life is going to become easy. Now, his science build, I've intentionally left to last, because when we did this on the Earth map, we smashed our heads and argued over what was the best way to do a science one. And somebody, I think chat, came up with the idea of using a train wagon, because a train wagon has 6 inputs and 6 outputs, and you can filter, you know, or bring 6 belts of items, and because we're using both lanes, 12 belts of items into a train wagon, and then get that down to like 3 inserters into a lab. The problem was that because we were having 2 items on either side of the belt, let's give you can have one of those. Oops, wrong button. We'll give you a stack of those. And a stack of those. So this is exactly what would happen. Our inserter would be stuck with a right-hand item in the belt, or a left-hand item, didn't really matter. And unfortunately, our wagon was full of that item. So the inserter couldn't put that one item down. Because it couldn't put that one item down, the other side of the belt would end up backing up and not being able to get into our train wagon, which then meant that we were stuck. We couldn't, you know, our train wagon, it empty of this left-hand item, and the inserter would never ever get anything put in there because it was holding whatever's in the, you know, on the right-hand side of the belt. So what we end up having to do is changing that whole setup again, because we changed it about 8 times, and have 6 items fed into a lab, then another 6 items fed into the next lab, and another 6 items fed in the next lab, and another one into this lab, and then have them daisy chained out, which was an absolute nightmare. It worked in the end. Like, it worked beautifully in the end. But it was a nightmare to set up. So what InferiorRook has done, which is probably much more ingenious of him, and what did we do? I don't even remember what we did on the community map, because we ran a community map with this stupid science mod. Is he... Haha, we start this end. So he's got a set of lights saying which ones he has enough of and which ones he's short of. So we've got, you know, greater than 100 conditions with a light. Of course, there's no space science. We've got greater than 100 with conditions. I want a 22 and a 23. You're a 23. You're a 22. Now, I sort of know how this works, but I don't really. He's then got all these boxes. Hang on, let's put down some power. No, let's put down some wires so I can actually read things. And that one goes to there. So this is what's in the boxes, and this one is, I believe, what the inserters have actually put onto the belt, because it doesn't look like, no, what the lab inserters have taken off the belt. And from the looks of it, it's constantly doing maths between the two to say, how many have we put on the belt and how many have we taken off the belt currently. And it looks like when it gets down to so we do anything times 1 equals anything. So you're outputting, so anytime these inserters swing, they give a positive number, and then anytime these inserters swing, it looks like we're getting a negative number. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's working. I'm not positive, but we'll put 22 in here. And I'm looking for Science Pack 22. What's that one? Read contents? How many in there? 487. 487. Okay, so that definitely counted up. And same story. I want to see whether, if we put those in there. So 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Let's try and do that research I said he wants to get. And again, we should see it counting down. We do. So he's just done a simple addition and subtraction, which is wonderful. It's like, it is the perfect setup. Yes, okay, you have a sushi belt of science, but it's counting up and counting down at the same time. It's like, no. We want 15 packs on every one of these belts. Just 15 of the packs. And then we'll let the labs pick up whatever pack it happens to need. As you can see, they're not all running, but they're mostly running. You know, obviously the outside belt is always going to fill up. But he does have a belt balancer here, which should sort of fix things. These ones are going to go fill on the outside. These ones are going to go fill on the inside. So he does need to do some sort of lane balancing right here. So Science Pack 9 is now the short one. Which is under 100. So yeah, he's got a lovely little light condition that says 6, 7, 11, 1, 2, 5. No, there's no 9 here. If there was a 9 here, I'd fill it up for him. But yeah, just the elegance, the smarts in it. I really love this solution, and I really wish, like, I can understand how to reverse engineer it. I really wish I could design it in the first place. Yeah, but hopefully, look, he'll get logistics soon. Actually, it's a really cheap research, so he really won't have a problem. Unfortunately, when we did it with a 5 times multiplier, which was a little bit insane. But yeah, as it is, it's a brilliant solution to what would otherwise be an absolute nightmare of a science setup. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I need to thank InferiorRook for sending me a copy of the map. It was an absolute pleasure to have a tour through. I really wish him luck with all this lovely ore situation. Like I said, I've looked at doing it, and maybe I'll throw it up for this month's community map. We'll see. As always, you can point out anything I happen to miss down in the comments section below. And if you want to have your base toured by me, again, details are down the description. I think that's absolutely everything. I have to check with InferiorRook. Normally it's fine. We'll see whether we'll put a map save down in the description for you. If you want to actually have a look at this map, he did do a wonderful job and put down lots and lots of little science icons for me, so I didn't get lost. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you InferiorRook for sending me the map, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.